Rare earth minerals, 17 obscure elements like neodymium and dysprosium, are the hidden force behind our digital age and the green revolution. Without them, much of our technology simply wouldn't exist. They're essential for everything from the powerful motors in electric vehicles and the spinning blades of wind turbines, to the vibrant screens we stare at, and the advanced defense systems that protect nations. But the story of rare earths is about more than chemistry. It's about power, economics, and fierce global competition. These minerals have become a strategic asset, shaping the balance of power between nations. For years, the world paid little attention to who controlled these resources. Rare earths were overlooked, their importance underestimated. Now, that's changed. The mining and crucially the complex processing of rare earths has become a new front in global rivalry, with countries racing to secure their own supplies. Demand is soaring as nations pursue ambitious climate goals, and as our electronics become ever smaller, faster, and more powerful. The question is, who controls this vital supply? The answer is unsettling. China dominates the global rare earth market. While the West offshored its industry and closed factories, China invested heavily and built a near monopoly over the rare earth supply chain. This dominance gives Beijing extraordinary leverage in a world increasingly defined by technological competition and resource scarcity. To understand the future of technology, energy, and even geopolitics, we must understand the hidden war for these elements, and what's at stake for us all. Despite their name, rare earths aren't geologically rare. Cerium, for example, is actually more common in the Earth's crust than copper. The term rare comes from their scattered distribution, not their scarcity. The real challenge is extracting and refining them, a process that's not only complex and costly, but also environmentally hazardous. Separating these elements from ore requires advanced technology and often produces toxic waste, making the process risky for both people and the planet. Western nations, facing strict environmental regulations and public opposition, outsourced this dirty work to other countries, especially China, a decision with lasting economic and geopolitical consequences. These elements are indispensable in modern life. Neodymium and dysprosium power the magnets inside wind turbines and electric vehicles, driving the green technology revolution. Samarium cobalt magnets are vital for advanced defense systems, from precision-guided missiles to satellite communications, and europium is what makes our screens glow with vibrant colors, from smartphones to televisions. Each application depends on a specific rare earth element, making a reliable and secure supply chain absolutely critical for industries worldwide. Demand is skyrocketing, especially as clean energy and electronics industries expand rapidly to meet global needs. The International Energy Agency predicts that rare earth demand for clean technologies could triple by 2040, putting even more pressure on global supply. This transforms rare earths from simple commodities into strategic assets, essential for national security and economic growth. Control over rare earth production means influence over the future of technology, climate policy, and military power on the world stage. In the end, the true rarity isn't in the ground, it's in the expertise and infrastructure needed to turn these elements into the building blocks of tomorrow. China's rare earth dominance began in the 1980s when Deng Xiaoping declared, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earths." China invested heavily, leveraging low costs and lax regulations to undercut Western producers. Flooding the market with cheap rare earths, China drove global prices down, forcing Western mines to close. Beijing then consolidated its industry, imposed export quotas, and ensured Chinese manufacturers had priority access. By the early 2000s, China controlled over 90% of refined rare earths, a near-total monopoly. The West's short-term thinking created a dangerous dependency on a strategic rival. With its near monopoly, China wields rare earths as a tool of geopolitical leverage. In 2010, after a dispute with Japan, China abruptly halted rare earth exports, crippling Japan's tech sector and sending shockwaves worldwide. This event turned rare earths into a top-tier security concern. China's dominance also subtly pressures companies to locate factories in China for supply security, drawing investment and technology into its orbit. The US military relies on rare earths for advanced weapons. This dependency is a strategic vulnerability. In a crisis, China could restrict supply, threatening Western defense capabilities. The quiet war over minerals could have loud consequences. The 2010 crisis jolted the West into action, sending shockwaves through governments and industries alike. Suddenly, the vulnerability of relying on a single supplier for critical materials became impossible to ignore. The US, Europe, Australia, and their allies are now racing to rebuild rare earth supply chains, determined to reduce their dependence on China and regain control over these vital resources. Their goal is clear: diversify sources, strengthen partnerships, and create a resilient supply chain that can withstand future shocks and disruptions. New mines are opening in Australia and the US, while ambitious projects are underway from Greenland to Brazil, tapping into previously overlooked reserves. Governments are offering incentives and financial support to spur investment, but mining is only the first step in a much longer journey. The real bottleneck is processing, China's greatest advantage, built over decades of investment and expertise that the West now struggles to match. Western efforts are now focused on rebuilding lost processing expertise and infrastructure, a task that requires both time and significant resources. The US and EU are investing in domestic facilities, new technologies, and research to close the gap and ensure future supply security. Yet, challenges remain: high costs, strict environmental regulations, and growing public resistance to mining projects all threaten to slow progress. Building a full end-to-end supply chain is slow, complex, and fraught with obstacles, requiring coordination across industries and borders. The West faces a long-term race to catch up, with every delay increasing the risk of falling further behind in the global competition. But the stakes, technological leadership, economic security, and strategic independence, are simply too high to ignore. The outcome will shape the future of innovation and global power. The solution isn't just more mining, it's innovation. Recycling e-waste could create an urban mine of rare earths, easing environmental impact and supply risk. Scientists are developing motors and turbines that use fewer or no rare earths, and searching for alternative materials. International cooperation is key. Allied nations can share costs, risks, and expertise. Friendshoring, building supply chains among trusted partners, offers resilience. China's dominance took decades. Building alternatives will take sustained effort and political will. Mineral security may cost more, but dependency costs far more. Through new sources, recycling, innovation, and alliances, the West can rebalance the scales. The global race for rare earths is a battle for technological and economic leadership. These elements are the foundation of green energy, advanced electronics, and modern defense. For too long, the West ignored the risks of dependency, handing China immense leverage. Now, the scramble to diversify, innovate, and ally is underway. Rebuilding supply chains is hard, but continued dependence is untenable. The nations that secure rare earths will shape the future of technology and power. This is no longer just an economic issue, it's a strategic imperative. The quiet war for rare earths will decide who leads tomorrow's world. Awareness is the first step. Action must follow. The outcome will define the 21st century.